Welcome to Be More Pirate. I realised I presented a title of something that means absolutely nothing to anyone in the room. So I'm surprised to see as many people as I have here turned up. Effectively, the aim of the game today is break the rules, build your empire and change the game. I'm going to start by explaining who the hell I am and what the presentation is, and then we'll get stuck in. Before I even get to this slide, just genuinely thanks for making the time. I said to Giles, he said, "You're on after the headliner." And I said, well, that either makes me the headliner, or like if you go to live music and they play that song to like clear out the venue whilst you're like kicking glass bottles out the way and trying to get out. I don't know, I'm one of those. I like to think I'm the headliner. But for me, I think the fitness industry is relatively broken. And I'm going to tell you why, and then we're going to get into how I propose we fix it. I've had a lot of conversations about this already today. In my opinion, our industry is crowded and it's really just fucking repetitive. You guys hear the same stuff over and over and over. And I know a lot of you, and some of you have spoken to me on Instagram and whatever else. The one thing I'm trying not to be is repetitive. Ultimately, I feel like the industry is filled with coaches that are all saying the same thing. And I feel like they're all following the same rules. And ultimately, I feel like they're all playing it safe. And no good story ever started by playing it safe, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, that is the sole reason why most fitness coaches struggle to stand out. I meant to open earlier on by saying, last time I did this, I was a little bit nervous, and I was told to imagine you all naked, so you're all looking fantastic just now. Thank you for that. And ultimately, that's what leads to you all feeling stuck at the same income level, burning out, chasing clients, and that's not the goal. So, the punchline of today's session is it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to feel like you're just constantly chasing clients around, constantly chasing the next buck, trying to find the next person to sign up, trying to copy everyone else, deliver the same messages as everyone else, feeling exhausted, feeling tired. So today I'm going to show you a couple of things. Ideally, how to break those rules, and secondly, how to build your empire. Like, that's my goal, is we help coaches build their fitness empires. More importantly, a lifestyle empire, not a business that ultimately it's a lifestyle business, not a business lifestyle. And I think that's really important, because I know in this industry it's very easy to get sucked into where you just work all the fucking time and you feel like your business is a ball and chain as opposed to something that gives you what you want. And finally, with that, to create a business that scales to 10K a month consistently. Like, we're in my space in this industry, there are a lot of competitors to me, and I don't even view them as competitors, just people do equal things in their own way, and that's fantastic. But I feel like I know when I was a coach, there was a lot of people advertising that this person hit a 10K a month, and you knew in your heart of hearts they did 2K the month before and 2K the month after. They just had a lot of upfronts, or they were counting projected. And doing so without working 24/7 and pretending to be someone you're not. So before we get cracking, I figured I'm the captain of your ship today. Thank you for the one laugh, I'll pay you later on. So I figured I'd answer who the hell I am. I'm Matt Optimised, that's not my given name. The first one is, my mum and dad's surname is not Optimised, it's Peacock. If you like to scan that and follow me and drop me a message at any point, I'm happy to answer questions later on. I realise it's very difficult to ask questions when no one can hear anything. But effectively, I started this industry in a slightly different manner to most people. I spent 10 years working in construction, in engineering, traveled the world, had what I think was a relatively good career. My parents seem to think so. And then I quit one day to become a coach, which was much to the dismay of everyone that knew anything about careers in my family. And I very quickly built a very busy, profitable PT business. My skill set was quite digital, so I kind of transitioned online, and with that transition, within 4 years, I built a business that was doing £250,000 by myself, coaching people from all around the world. I like to think to a fairly high standard. I can show you photos of naked men to prove it if you like, if you're interested in that. I do have that on my hard drive. And as a result of that, then coaches started asking me, especially the coaches in the gym I worked in, because I did a bit of both, were saying like, can you teach me? Can you show me? How did you do it? Like, what do you know that I don't? And so I started teaching people just little bits. And then eventually I remember saying to my wife, Sarah, like, surely I could, like, this is a business, right? Like, surely I could, like, make this an actual thing. So the next person that phoned up, that unfortunate sod, got charged for the same service that everyone before had not been charged for. And really the rest is history. We now run the Optimised Coach, and we help coaches grow and scale their online businesses. So if you're really not into that just now, that's absolutely fine. I won't be offended if you leave, but at the same time, there's still gonna be great value for you otherwise. But this is my story in very few slides. That is me with a gap in my teeth. Sarah gave me a quick glow up when she met me. I wasn't quite up to standard, but she figured I was a fixer-upper. A green banana, I like to call it, not quite ready yet. But a few years ago, more years than I'm honest. I hit rock bottom. It was really a very bad time in my life. I got divorced. Sarah's my second wife, which is a fucking bizarre statement to be able to say. I was in a relationship, I was unhappy, I left that relationship. I've got a child from that relationship, and it was really difficult. I was trying to manage a busy PT business, gym floor PT, all of it. And honestly, guys, it was the most difficult time in my whole life. And with that came 3 maxed out credit cards, whilst I tried to just keep myself afloat. I'd spent 10 years paying into a mortgage, and guess what? The house was part of the deal in the mortgage, in the divorce. So despite 10 years of mortgage payments, I was back at the bottom of the property ladder with no deposit and well, less than a penny to my name, I hate to tell you. And if I'm completely honest, skin depressed, and whilst I'm not proud to admit it, I'm okay to say it, and it's suicidal. I feel like everyone's got a kind of bullshit story like this, and I'm not going to bore you with mine. If you'd like to chat about it, or you're struggling with any of that, I'm more than happy to chat to you about it. I am far from qualified, and I will refer you to someone who knows, but I will still listen. But I got to that point where I just didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to be on the planet. I was just done with it. And in that moment, I realized a few things. I realized if I was going to go out, I'd rather go out fighting. I'd rather, like, I can give this one more. I don't have some. I was sitting on a beach meditating, and then a break of the clouds and a beam of light came to me, and I heard the Almighty. None of that happened. I don't know when the moment was, but I figured, well, let's give this one more swing. So I gave it one more swing, and I took one last shot at it, and I rebuilt step by step. If I'm honest, guys, painfully slowly at first. So we've gone from earning a decent salary in a job that I didn't like, in a relationship I didn't like, to not in that relationship, to not in that job, to earning fuck all money when I started, to making £250,000, to giving the house away, to then a significant drop in business because I was a fucking disaster. And I rebuilt it, and it took a long time, but we rebuilt it. And this was one of the key turning points. There's that guy with a gap in his teeth again. Fun fact, that t-shirt is actually inside out, and I realized at the end of the day after speaking to lots of people, but you know, you live and learn. I went to see Tony Robbins. I went to Unleash the Power Within, which ironically is the one behind me, so not the other two. And this came up on the screen, and it's a photo from a camera roll. What are you grateful for? What's your solution? And I honestly, like, as cheesy as it might be, realized that I had a lot to be grateful for. I had a son, had a lot of clients that stayed with me. Felt like I'd built a relatively decent reputation, and I decided, right, like let's do it. This was really, I think, if I'm honest with myself, it was. I sincerely mean this statement, and with no inflammatory intent. It was, I went to this with the intent to fix my life or just fucking finish it. Like, it doesn't make me happy to say those words to any of you, but that was the genuine intent. And along the way, I figured out how to build something incredible. And a business and a life that I actually wanted to wake up to. That photo is me at my dad's house, currently homeless at this point in my life, sofa surfing, my parents and friends. That's me cutting up the last credit card, which was a good feel. Obviously covered up the numbers to prevent anyone else putting one last pound on it. Now, but then that's why I started the Optimised Coach. Is that moment was something I wanted for a lot of other people. Financial freedom, true financial freedom, not just no credit cards. No credit cards is not financial freedom. There's a lot more to life than that. But we started the Optimised Coach, and this is a photo from one of our smaller events last year. And we started coaching coaches and teaching them how to do exactly the same thing. I knew I could help other coaches, and I did. And with that, we fast forward to now. It's my wife Sarah and I who run the business together. We've built, I think, a relatively successful business. It's quite hard. I'm Scottish, so telling you nice things about myself isn't something I'm particularly good at. I will talk to you about my suicidal moment all day long, but telling you compliments about myself goes against my genetic makeup, I'm afraid. So, in doing so, we've helped hundreds of coaches build businesses that scale to 10K months and well beyond. And every single time I'm surrounded by them, genuinely, like Sarah and I come away from it saying the same things. Like, these are the reason why we do it. There's so many of them in the crowd just now. Like, honestly, this is what I know I'm on the planet to do. And I genuinely hope at least some of you feel that way about your job. And I hope at the end of this, maybe a few more of you do. And if nothing else comes of this, then I feel like I've done my job. A few people have asked me, a few friends and a few strangers have been speaking about like the industry. And I think like my job is the betterment of the industry for all, just to genuinely make the industry a bit more of a positive place. I think we've got a really shit industry where it's like toxic, egos, people falling out, he's shite, they're shite. I feel like I'm the antidote to that. I genuinely feel like that's why I'm here. So I promise we'll stop talking about me in a minute. Basically, I want to do it in a way that I want to teach coaches to build a business. It doesn't sacrifice their time. It doesn't go against their values, doesn't cost them their sanity. And what I'm going to teach you today isn't just that, it's bigger than that. With that, it's not just theory. It's a framework that's helped me go from rock bottom to running a thriving, scalable business. If I can do it, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet. I think I'm a fairly hard-working guy, but I truly believe all of you can do exactly the same. So if you are tired of playing small, if you're tired of blending in, if you're tired of following the industry's broken rules, then ultimately this one's going to be for you. So thanks for coming. If you are a coach, which I assume at least some of you are, fingers crossed, one of these things will be true for you. You've had clients ghosting you, copying what you see online, and just still not getting any traction, and hustling for leads, but just never really breaking through and getting to that point where this is the self-sustaining business and not something that just fucking exhausts you all day, every day. I should have said at the start of this, I swear a lot. We're a few minutes in for me to announce that now. You've probably picked that up. Or worse, like burning out. I've met so many coaches that burn out. I don't know if I ever burnt out. I burnt out from a life perspective, not a business perspective. I never lost my love for the job, ever, ever, ever. Some of the guys that are now clients, Harry, I'm looking at you, he's an Optimised Coach client, but you were a coaching client years and years ago. The problem is that most coaches follow this outdated playbook, and it looks like this. It's step 1, slap a bang average application form in your bio on some form of social media. Step 2, churn out bullshit cookie cutter content. Step 3, expect your prospects to do the rest. And I'm here to tell you that shit doesn't work. I tried it, I can tell you firsthand it doesn't, and coaches come to me on a daily, weekly basis, trying exactly the same thing. Guess what? It doesn't work for them either. As I've already said, it's broken, it doesn't work anymore. And actually, quick aside guys, the real truth is it did work for a while. Like any of you, Ben, you've been in the industry for a hot minute, you know the drill. If you've been around the block, it was easy back when. There was no noise, like this didn't exist, there was no conferences. You just could put out absolute bullshit on the internet, and if you were in relatively good shape, you had a good chance of attracting at least one client. I'm happy to tell you I came up in that part of the industry. I'm not going to lie about it, but I'm here to tell you that even if I went back and did it again, that would not work now. For all the aforementioned reasons. So here we are, the Pirate Framework. In case you can't tell from the name of this presentation, I like naming stuff stupid shit. Why? Because you probably remember something about fucking pirates, and then ideally 2 or 3 takeaways. Bingo, oh yeah, the pirate guy. Fantastic. So, principle number 1 of our Pirate Framework today is to challenge the status quo. That right there is from one of my teachers in woodwork at school. They always told us to question everything we were being taught, so I immediately questioned that. And I realized that I'm pretty good at being probably just a bit of an asshole, but I genuinely believe that just questioning what you're being taught, do I truly believe this? Because I came to a lot of stuff, not like this, but I paid for seminars when doesn't feel like that happens anymore, but I paid for seminars and I took what they said verbatim and I never questioned whether I truly believed it, just because I put them on such a pedestal. If you don't believe anything I'm saying today, that's fine, I'm not here to convince you otherwise. I'm just asking you to put a microscope on what you hear. Is it your opinion or is it my opinion? Maybe we share it, great. So most coaches, they fall into the same trap, right? They copy what everyone else is doing, they post the same recycled content, they charge the same prices, and then they wonder why they're not getting any attention. It's very difficult to stand out if you're trying to blend in. And my surname's Peacock. I wasn't meant to stand in. I was meant to stand out, I wasn't meant to fit in. So you look and sound just like everyone else. The punchline is you will be treated like everyone else. And the fastest way to stand out is to stop doing what everyone else is doing. Not for the sake of just doing something different, for the sake of you believing in what you believe in and here to sing your message. I feel like a lot of people in my space, there's a lot of flexing and posturing. My intention was to just be myself, and hopefully that's landing. I've spent the last 10 minutes telling you about how I was skint and suicidal. I probably had one slide telling you how much money I've made. I'm not the hero of the story. Like the guys that are here that are my clients, they genuinely are. So I try to use a framework for like, okay, challenge the status quo, do something different, do something that other people aren't doing. This is James, one of our clients. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm absolutely hilarious, and I've told him something hilarious there. And actually, Zach, you look less than impressed, if I'm honest. So, Jamie's a good example of this, doing something different. Jamie gets fantastic engagement on his content, really, really good engagement. And with that, when I ask them to post social proof, which I think is a very important part of all of your content strategies, it gets wank engagement. And when it gets wank engagement, Jamie's soul dies. And then Jamie messages me and says, Matt, I only got 40 likes on that post, and all of the ones have got like 15,000 views. Okay, dude. So we tried to solve the problem. What's your unique way of solving this problem? So we came up with this thing where Jamie now, rather than like before and afters, he's a running coach, boring like Strava kudos shots. I was like, why don't you go for a run with the client and talk to them about what they've done? Because we're literally doing the fucking thing that you sell in that. And lo and behold, we fixed the problem. Jamie found his own way of doing things that works for him, not because everyone else is doing it. He knows he needs to do social proof, but that wasn't working. So what's your unique way of doing it? I really, really would encourage, if you've written nothing else down, just challenge the status quo. What do I believe and why do I believe it? And do I believe what I'm being told? Maybe you're sat there like, fuck Matt and fuck Jamie. Fantastic, at least you know what you believe. So, if you want to take photos of the task ones, that's the fastest way to remember them. See if you're writing it down. Is task number one, to review your current content. Scroll through your last 10 posts. Once you've scrolled through those last 10 posts, I would encourage you to run the authenticity test. Ask yourself this, if another coach said this exact same thing, would it still be true? It's probably not uniquely your own. In case you can't tell from the length of time you've been listening to me, I have a fairly unique way of delivering things. It's a little bit off the cuff, it's very sweary, and there's often, I've really promised my wife I wouldn't tell any hugely inappropriate jokes. We did a seminar on Friday and I'm fairly certain I'd be cancelled telling them on the stage to speak, so that's fine, I won't. With that, I'd like you to apply Simon Sinek's principle of, does this post communicate what you do, or does it communicate why you do it? The why you do it, I'll move out of the way, sorry, you're gonna get a picture of me walking in front of your slide. Does it communicate why you do it? I had a chat with a few people today. Craig, looking at you. Does it communicate why you do it? Why are you here? I've told you why I'm here. I want to make the industry a fundamentally better place and a more positive place with that. If it's just surface level content, like here's how to lose fat, here's 3 ways to lose fat, or how to take a half an hour off your marathon time if we're Jamie. In reality, it's not going to tickle people's pickle, and that's the goal. You're all pickle ticklers on the internet. That's your job. You are all official pickle ticklers from now on. Well, what you can do is rewrite it to show your why. So if we keep that previous example, I teach this method because once I was a frustrated guy following a bad diet advice and failing over and over and over. Now there's a why. Like I fucked. Most of you are here because of that. You're fitness professionals, which means you either have daddy issues, severe body dysmorphia, or both, and probably got some fairly shit advice. Like Poppy, you made that video saying that you didn't fit into like powerlifting and CrossFit and bodybuilding, you couldn't find your space, so you just made your own fucking space. Decent. Then I want you to rewrite and republish that. I want you to take one of the generic posts that you have in your content backlog, because you've all got it, I've got it. I'm not here to tell you I'm any different, I just figured it out. Inject your own story, beliefs, and unique voice into that post. I have a very unique way of writing content, and so far I've been able to find no social media help that can do it my way. Why? Because I'm just a bit fucking weird. That's okay. So why does it work? People don't buy coaching, they buy a coach. More importantly, your why is your differentiator. None of you invented the things you're teaching in fitness, like the physiology part of all the health and fitness stuff, whether that's fat loss, supplements, you fucking name it. Like you didn't invent it, but your why is different. If your content could come from any other coach, it's immediately forgettable. Plain and simple. And there you go. There's a quote from the big man himself. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Write it down. Plain and simple. I don't go fuck what you do, to be honest. I'd love to hear why you do it. That's the story I can get behind. And ultimately, that's why it's called Be More Pirate. I think pirates were a bit like that. They were fucked. If you've read it, there's a good book. It's called Be More Pirate. I recommend you all read it. You're not going to learn a huge amount other than like stories about pirates, but it's a good bedtime read. I genuinely think like most of them were sick of being in the Navy and being treated like shite, so they made their own thing. And they were, I think, having read the book, they were considered dicks. But actually, when you read the book, you realize they were just people that wanted better for their life. And when, if I can't get it one way, I'll get it another. Shout out to pirates. If your audience doesn't know why you do what you do, they'll never connect with you enough deeply on a level to really buy into it. And hopefully by me sharing with you why I do it, I don't need you to buy anything. I've got fuck all to sell you. There is no sales pitch at the end of this. Sorry to disappoint. There's no like X% off, book a call with me. If you'd like to have a chat, I'd be more than happy to. But hopefully you understand who I am and what I see the industry and how I see the industry and how I see it being better. that maybe I have a chat with some of you. And again, maybe I don't tell you something, maybe we just have a chat and you go away with a clearer mission. I've done my job. Principle 2 here is to rewrite the rules. So the problem isn't that you're not working hard enough, although I would dispute most coaches don't work hard enough. That's a story for another day. I think the problem is that you're playing by someone else's rules. Your business should reflect you. And I purposefully chose a kangaroo wearing sunglasses because one of our core mantras tattooed on the back of my arm, and Ben's actually, Tattoo Brothers for life, is stay weird. Your beliefs, your values, and your strengths. I'm a pretty fucking weird guy, and for years I tried to hide that. I was like, oh, if I stand out, I'll be noticeable. I can't tell you how to do it in today. I just stopped giving a fuck. And I would love you all to stop giving a fuck what the rest of the people in this room look like. You're doing a pretty good job because you all look like dicks with those headsets on. So, you know, stay weird, motherfuckers. Let's keep going. The moment you start showing up authentically, like this tinfoil hat wearing weirdo, is the exact moment that you start speaking in your voice, you start sharing your story, and you start unapologetically standing for something. That's the goal. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? I would err on the side of for. You need to be clear on against, but I had a chat with Ben just before this about, I don't really love the whole, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like the negativity. You just need to be clear on it. Like we have chats about this all the time in our community where the conversation, some coaches really stand against physical transformation, be that rapid or at all, and that's fine, I respect that. That was what I did for a living. And Harry and I had a great chat, Harry was a client, and we described it as we got you a body transformation without the overdraft metabolically. Cool. Some coaches stand against transformation, that's fine, you need to be clear on that, but you need to know what you stand for. You need both sides of that equation. That's the exact moment that people start noticing you. George, you're on the screen, bro. We asked the clients that we have a while back, like, great, by the way, if you have a Facebook, WhatsApp group, whatever with your clients, write this one down and stick it in there tonight. I love being a part of, insert your program name here, so the Optimised Coach, because, so finish this sentence, I love being a part of X because, and these are some of the answers, and George said to me, I'm not going to read the other one just now, you can read it yourself, but the thing that attracted me to inquirers ultimately sign up was that you were yourself. You didn't sound like every other boring, you can read the next word yourself, I promised I wouldn't say that word on this one, on the internet. How do you stand out in a market that tries to make you sound and be like everyone else? Thank you, George, appreciate you, brother. I feel like this is the ticket, this is your ticket. There's Ash agreeing with him. This is how you punch your check to really start making some serious money. So the niche framework on this front, because like ultimately what we're trying to do here is like George I've very clearly defined as my niche. Like you're my guy, you're the king of testimonials as well, George. No one else has ever provided so much social proof than this man, fantastic. Who do you love working with? That's one of the questions I need you to have crystal clear. What problems do they have? And what's your unique way of solving those problems? These two, you've heard until you're blue in the face. I get it, totally respect it. This one, I don't think people ask enough. The first two mean shit without the third one. Principle number 3, build a movement. So, plenty of examples of this as we go, but the very first thing is to build old wowoi energy. But you don't know what wowoi energy is, with or without you. Whenever I've had a few calls with people in this crowd about signing up, and they've chosen not to join, and that's absolutely fine. Whenever I have a call, we don't do sales calls. Sarah, your headphones are just running out of battery, you're flashing, so it's a your problem, not a me problem, I think. Anyone else still hear me? Yeah. My wife is panicking. She's heard enough of my voice. So, whenever I go into sales calls, we don't have sales calls, we have get hired calls. I've got nothing to sell you. If you'd like to hire me, that's great. I'm going to find out about you, I'm going to be genuinely curious. And if at the end of that I can solve your problem, I'll explain how we would do it. If that doesn't sound like it's for you, that's fantastic. I'd still like to be your friend in the industry and we can move forward together. And I can probably recommend someone else. That is what I would call with or without you energy. I'm running this shit show with or without you. If you'd like in, come join our mutiny. If not, that is absolutely fine. I would still like to shake your hand and go away as friends. And I think people feel that. I think people feel like I was sick as a coach of people like me selling to them, ramming shit down their neck, chasing them around the internet, trying to sell you their grand. Now I can't sell you my grand because she's dead. So maybe she's worth more, I don't know. I just think that these points of differentiation are the big ones. And I would encourage you to think about with or without you energy. Ultimately though, people don't just want a coach, they want to belong to something. Something bigger than them, something bigger than you, something bigger than that relationship. Now, I don't know, but the fact that my clients turn up to everything that we do and turn up to events, and like this was us in Ibiza, this was our higher performing group of clients at that moment in time financially. We invite them to our over to our villa, we hosted them, we got some private chefs, we had a nice, well, I was going to say chill, but it was anything but chill, we were absolutely hammered, and got the conversation cards out and then everyone started crying. Fantastic, good content though. But people want to be part of something like that. Like we go to Ibiza with our clients. Why? Because everyone else uses boring fucking meeting rooms in the UK. Does it cost me 3 times as much? Yes. Do I make any money from events? No. Am I running them to make money? No. Why? Because it's a community builder. It's an investment in my people. And I think they know that. I genuinely think they feel that. People want to feel like that. So with that, the most successful fitness businesses don't just sell coaching or workouts. What they sell is a movement. They sell something that people want to be a part of. Now Ben, who's my best friend, who's in the crowd, he's built this fucking bizarre, I don't even know what it is, fitness business for cybersecurity, for hackers. And I would describe that business very much as a movement. In fact, they're your words, so it's not, I can't take credit for it. But it's a really weird group of people, bizarre. But they all are kind of bound by and to Ben in this wider cause of like they're unhealthy people to start with, fundamentally. And he's gone this crusade to, it's not body transformations, it's making them fundamentally, you said it in your reel the other day, I can share you this page and you can have a look at it yourself. But he's built a movement. Now, one thing that movements fundamentally require is retention. Like I think that is one of the biggest issues that plague fitness businesses. It's not that you've got a shit conversion rate or your pricing is wrong or your fucking logo is the wrong color. It's definitely not those things, most often than not. It's actually that there's a leak in the bucket. People are leaving, they're not staying for as long as they could. Now to be clear, retention is not like coercing people to stay against their will. It's not like a jail sentence. We're thinking about why people stay. So when I thought about that in preparation for talking to you, it's like, how do we systemize retention? And I think we need to think about what clients need across the course of their journey. The goal of retention, and actually, do you know what? This underline, the second line is like the answer to all of your problems. All of your clients, you should be giving them at every given stage, everything that they need and nothing that they don't. If they don't need it, it doesn't need to be in the program, not right now. So if we think about our journey with any client, is we take them from problem and we take them right up to promise. If you want a copy of like a blank version of this, my clients have got it, so I'll happily send you a PDF. Drop me a DM and tell me, give me that banana graph thing, Matt, and I'll know roughly what you mean. When someone's brand new, what they need is, in my opinion, onboarding. I think we can all agree that point. Clarity and direction. When someone comes to you, I think they lack these two things. They come to you for clarity and direction. They're a little bit lost. So I think we need to think about making sure we include those things. I think like we're often so quick to just be like, right, how quickly can I get this person started, that we've never stopped to try and systemize how can we give someone at each stage of the journey everything that they need and nothing that they don't. So in the first place, I think they're the three things that they need. Now, beyond that, when someone is a beginner client, kind of phase one, I think they need small and clear wins. That's meant to say 30. I've looked at these slides 1 million times and I didn't realize until 20 minutes ago it says 60, 60, 90, 30, 60, 90. They need small, clear wins. They need KPIs, key performance indicators. They need to know what, like, I actually genuinely think when someone is a beginner client, you're looking at behaviors rather than outcomes. So it's like, what behaviors do I need you to do that will get further up the banana graph the outcome that we're looking for? I think we rush to like, you need to lose 1 kilo this week or whatever it may well be. Well, how are they going to do that? What are the KPIs? And then with that, giving them clear 30, 60, 90 days. Now, I wasn't going to say this, but I'm just going to do a quick rabbit hole. We spoke on our group call this morning about this. Those of you that were on the group call have seen this, or you bore you with the same slides twice, this one. What I used to do with clients is, it was body transformations, but again, not at the expense of someone's health. So we used to put people through a health phase where we focus on habit, lifestyle, behavior, routine, stress management. These are the things, right? Sleep. But if the client came to me and said that they wanted fat loss, and I immediately say, we can help you with that on that sales call, the get hired call. And then they come on board, and then phase one, I'm like, do you know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna do fat loss. Are they delighted with that outcome? Nah. And I don't have enough trust from those people yet. You build trust, you earn trust, you don't demand it. And they trust you least when they start. So what we used to do with a lot of clients is do the 30-day goal. If fat loss was the goal specifically, I realize it's not the example for all of you, but follow along. 30 days of fat loss, just to give a little bit of something. They weren't usually metabolically in a place where they could lose fat. They weren't particularly, they were highly inflamed, sleeping like shit, stressed out their mind. And most of the guys I work with either had the shits for the last 6 weeks or not had a shit for the last 6 weeks. Either way, their guts were a bit of a mess. I knew I needed to fix that. That was what they need. But what did they want? Fat loss. So I think your 30, 60, 90 go like this. Want, need, want. Start with a little bit of want. Build the trust, buy the trust. So if someone comes to me and they need to lose 10 kilos or 20 kilos, maybe they'll lose 2 kilos in the first 30 days. It's not a huge amount of fat loss, but they can see proof of concept. And then I say, Harry, listen, here's the drill. We lost that. We can keep losing fat, but for those of you that know anything about fat loss physiology, it's going to stall pretty quickly. It's like a plane landing. It comes down super steep, and then, unless you're landing a Delta flight, you do something slightly different. But it lands kind of like that. When it lands kind of like that, I'm saying to Harry, listen, we're about to stall. So we can continue trying to just use a hammer to smash this in, or we could spend the next 30 days, our 60-day goal, focusing on habits, sleep, stress, digestion. These are the things. And what I can promise you is that if we do that, it will expedite the whole process of losing fat moving forward. Are you up for doing some of that? And we called that our client slingshot. And the reason we called it that is, if I have a slingshot, this is my slingshot, and I put Harry into the giant slingshot. I have put Harry into the giant slingshot before, in fact. And I pull, and the target is the back of the room. And I pull Harry this way. Can we agree he's moved further from his target? Some nods, cool. Right, the elastic that is holding Harry into the slingshot, by way of pointing up or down, has the energy got greater or less in the elastic, the stored energy? Correct, greater. So I would say to Harry, it's like, we're probably going to move slightly further away from the target for the next 30 days. That's okay, we're doing it on purpose, because we're doing it from an energetic standpoint, to get you to a metabolic set point that we're able to diet. We're going to build your calories to a higher caloric set point. We're going to fix your sleep, fix your stress, fix your digestion as much as is reasonably possible in that window. In which time you are far more likely to fucking send it on your next fat loss phase. Are you up for that? Yeah, and then we went to a photo shoot and you looked wham. Fantastic. So, we're doing all kinds of shit in my pocket. So, with that, we had quick fat loss into something more metabolic and sort them out, and then we moved into fat loss. They need that as a beginner. Your intermediate clients need structure, accountability, and targets. They need more structure. They're going to start to need more structure from you because they're starting to get it. With that, they're going to need more accountability, not less, in my opinion, more. Like this person, the instructions I gave this person were so low that they needed some accountability. They thought they needed more. This guy, my structure and asks are getting much more complex, so they're going to need more accountability to stick to that. And with that, they need targets. This person needed KPIs, like little behaviors. This person needs like, what are we aiming for this week? What are we doing? Into the advanced section, they need refinement and new challenges. Like Harry may have been like, well, Matt, I want to run a marathon because you're that fucking guy. You do random fucking projects. Sweet. There's a new challenge and refinement of the process. And then finally at the end, when they move into what I've called plus, because I ran out of words, is people will pay for speed and proximity. So we have some clients that are making upwards of, like Dave just made 10 grand in the last week. Fantastic. He will happily pay me more for greater speed and growth and actually more proximity with me. Matt, how can I get on the phone directly with you more often? No problem. But those clients might need that, and you might need not what I would call a legacy product, but something at that back end for those real high-end clients who have got to the point where they can tolerate that. Now, if you want to talk about that, I actually recommend speaking to Phil Lerney about his high net worth client. They're the type of people that will actually pay for that. If you haven't been to Phil's high net worth client event, it's worth going to, if that's your bag. So we map out the client journey like that. What do you think? If we've got your beginners, your intermediates, and your advanced, that's where they need to stay engaged. The other things, you need to think about what those different categories of people need to stay engaged at any given time. Now, we're almost there, guys. Principle 4 is to take bold action. Confidence for me is the absolute fucking base product of any good coaching business, or just like a human being that's going to go and do something. Now, Sarah asked my mom, she's like, Matt's such a confident guy, like where do you think it came from? And my mum was like, honestly, I think he was pretty underconfident. And that's very true. But like, I used to put a face on it. Like, bear in mind before I tell you this next sentence, I was brought up in a time when this was normal. If I was bad, my mum would absolutely leather the back of my legs whilst I was running up the stairs. That was fine. It wasn't considered abuse back then. And I don't feel like I have trauma from it. Thank you for asking. No. I used to be like, my mum would whack me on the back of the legs. Like, it wasn't sore. Look at her now, it wasn't sore. It didn't hurt. It fucking hurt, right? But like, I almost brain fucked myself into being confident. I did that for so long. I was really underconfident. Then now it's like, I can come and stand in front of you and I didn't feel any nerves. I felt excited to speak to you. But confidence isn't something that you get. It's something that you create through action. And the reason there's a guy skydiving, that's not me. I would bet when you go to skydive for the first time and you are being thrust out of the door, you ain't feeling too fucking confident at that moment in time. But the minute you land on the floor, I bet most people are like, again. Right? They feel max confidence after they needed it. Confidence is something you get after you need it. Bit ironic, but true. I needed it when I was getting smacked on the arse and I didn't really fit into any social group. Ultimately though, you get paid for what you do, not the ideas you have. So when it comes to taking bold action, I bet all of you have something written down in an Apple note, a workbook, a meeting with a mate. It was a great idea. We should do that. But you haven't fucking done it. Lord knows, Ben, you and I come up with some fucking ideas. The coffee company last month. If anyone wants to buy, was it a cup of filth? Let us know. We'll sell you a cup of filth. Fuck knows where this stuff comes from, eh? So, I have a lot of ideas, medicated in such a way to reduce those ideas, thankfully. But you get paid for what you do. You get paid for the actions you take, and I need you to be aware of that. It's easy to sit and come up with all these bold ideas, especially days like today. You've all got some fucking, yes, we're gonna do it, and then you get home and guess what, you get stuck into check-ins and forget all about it. I know I did. One of the other core tenets besides stay weird of the Optimised Coach is close the loop. And I feel like I'm beginning to be some sort of tattoo advert for my own business, which is also tattooed on my right hand. Close the loop has become a tenet for me in that I was pretty bad at like finishing jobs. Does anyone else, chuck a hand up if you feel like this is true, and be honest. I used to come up with these really cool ideas, make 80% of the project, and then fucking something happened where it just fizzled. Did anyone else feel like they do that? They do most of the work? Yeah, sweet. This is a bit shit. That used to frustrate the life out of me. And close the loop is something like whenever Harry or Zach or George, any of my clients come to me, Poppy, you guys know I've told you just like go and fucking close the loop, right? Do you need my help to close the loop or do you know what needs done? No, I know what needs done. I promise you that alone, like I tell myself this once a day, an hour. Like I'm so bad at finishing jobs, ADHD as fuck, and that is a bit of a battle, but close the loop has really changed my life as an ethos. But 9 out of 10 times, the only thing really holding you back is fear. And if I told you fear is the kind of opposite of confidence in this context, when did we say you get confidence? After you need it. Close the fucking loop. You will feel confident when you do it. Starting your supplement brand, which is a big point now. I bet you were shitting yourself. Cool, I get it, like respect it. But I mean, it's fucking paid off. Awesome Supplements is a pretty cool fucking brand. Sponsorship for this thank you, man, that's really good of you. But fear is the one thing holding you back. You're scared of the outcome. And I think, honestly, if I reflect back on my career, I was actually really scared of judgment of other coaches, especially with content. Coming up with I honestly think someone like Ben, if you weren't you, I just don't think you give a fuck. I think that's your superpower. But I think if you were to go into hacking, cybersecurity, someone with a normal mindset would be terrified of that and they wouldn't do it for fear of judgment. You're gonna what? I mean, I think I probably said those words too. So really, I'd like you to write down one bold move that you've been avoiding, and I'd like you to finish it, not this week, but in the next 7 days. What's that big thing that you're sitting on? That's what she said. What is that big thing you're sitting on? And what is that big thing that you're avoiding finishing? Feel free to sit on a big thing. I'm married, you can't sit on mine and it's not a big thing. Like someone glued an acorn to the bottom of my torso, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, but hey ho, can I have muscles and a big willy? Don't have either at this moment in time. Okay, principle 5. We're bringing it home. Let's leave a legacy. That's my goal. All right, so the goal isn't just to make money. It's to create something meaningful that ultimately gives you freedom and changes lives. That is it. In a fucking sentence, that is it for me. Like, you're in the business of changing lives, and I think sometimes I know some of you, at least one person sat in this crowd just now, will have come very flat. Maybe not as extremely flat as I was one point in my life, but very flat, pretty just fucking fed up, burnt out, tired out, call it what you want. And I genuinely think, like, when you reframe what you do to this, and you realize, like, I always tell my guys, you're an architect of change. Like, that is literally your job. You don't sell fat loss or running plans. You fundamentally improve people's lives. And in doing that person's life, what happens? The people around them. Now, I had guys that came at me for physique transformation, they got promotions in like Fortune 500 companies. They were like, I've never had mindset training like it of all the training I've had. And I'm like, I'm not a fucking mindset coach. He's like, no, I just feel like you've changed my way of looking at life. That is fundamentally what you guys do. And the minute you start just treating it with that severity, we had a client hot seat from one of our coaches, Blair. Blair making 20 grand a month. Came to us making 2, counting pennies in his card to buy a pizza outside of Morrison's in the cup holder looking for pennies. Now he makes 20 grand a month, and I don't think he spends more than 5 minutes in any given country every year. Now, with that, I feel like with him, he said something on that his hot seat. I asked him questions about his transformation, and he said the moment he really felt like he turned pro was the moment he stopped considering himself like a fitness coach and he was a fitness business owner. That's the moment you start accepting that you have the power to change lives. I genuinely believe all of you do. All of you, even if you don't believe it, I believe it on your behalf. And with that, this one's not tattooed on me, but I suppose there's still space. Income follows impact. Ultimately, revenue follows results. I'll be honest, I got caught up in it for a long time in my career, chasing money, because the next guy was. And it was like, just how many sales calls can I have? How much can I sell them? And then you're like in a Facebook group, like, yeah, just closed the 997 PIF, guys, like, check me out. If I'm honest, the minute I started looking at, like, if I just get fucking shit hot results from my guys, I never had to sell anything. People were lining up to work with me. And that's when I started to make real money. The income that we have follows the impact that we have as coaches. Your focus should always be on both impact and results, not on either of these two. These two will follow, they're lagging metrics. So, really get into one of the most important parts here is, I like to measure your progress in impact, not just in pounds. And I genuinely believe the thing I'm about to show you next is, when coaches in our group fucking get this, it's just like, we've strapped a rocket ship to their business. And it's the impact framework. So rather than, okay, be honest, how many people have like at least a rough idea of their target they'd like to make financially this year? Be real with me, I do. I mean, you're business owners at the end of the day, largely. Cool, thank you for sharing. I think like that's cool to have and I think important to have, but I think this is more important. If you think about how many people you would like to get to where by when, so by the end of December this year, this is a writer downer for later on, or a photographer. By the end of December, not the 17th of July, as Apple seem to think it's perpetually. How many people are you going to get to where? What is the outcome that you get? That's this one. So we have a couple. There's a 5 grand category where I'd like to get people to consistent 5K months. There's 10 grand and there's 20 grand. And I know the number of people I would like to get to those categories by the end of this year, consistently. Because when you have that, when you have this part nailed, everything just starts to take care of itself. I know what content I need to make. I know what trainings I need to provide. I know what support I need to give. I don't find myself scratching around for content ideas, which I used to. But cool, well, if I want to get 100 people to 10K per month by the end of the year, well, where are we at? How far off are we? And what work needs to be done? So I want you to think about that impact goal, which is that framework. Now, you get that right and you let that guide you. As it says here, your marketing and sales just take care of themselves. I never feel like, oh, like, what are we gonna do for our marketing strategy this month? I never think like, no, I've got a sales call, woe betide me. It just happens. Because I share these impact goals on the internet and I tell people that's what I'm here for. If you're interested in any of those things, I'd love to have a chat with you. I have fuck all to tell you. That slide is not one of mine. Truth be told, when I got here, I came and asked the guy at the back, and I was like, have you got my slides? Do you need anything from me? I have emailed them. And they have been downloaded because I used WeTransfer so I can see that they've been downloaded. Who are you? Matt Peacock. I've got darker slides, bro. Minted. And I don't have my laptop because I was told not to bring anything. So I had to download them on Canva on his, so I have no idea what that is. But there's the last one. I didn't put the other one in. Whatever. This is me closing. I don't have a sales pitch for you. I literally have nothing to sell you. Nothing whatsoever. If you would like to have an actual conversation with an actual person and it's me on the other end of that, then feel free to scan it or just search Matt Optimised. And I would be more than happy to have a conversation with any of you, not with the intent to sell you into our business, but genuinely if you go away with like 1 or 2 little things to implement, I feel like I've done my job. The industry gets better, you feel less stressed, you're making better content, you're clearer on your impact, you're clearer on the meaning, you know that you change lives. And you go out there like, imagine that, you wake up every day of the week and you're like, this is fucking class. This is a pretty sick job. Because for a long time I thought my job was shit. I have nothing else to say to you other than thank you very much for coming. Thank you for giving me, I'm only 3 minutes over. That's got to be a fucking record. 100 slides in 47 minutes. That's right, I just did a dab. I have a 10-year-old. Deal with it. Even he doesn't dab. If you would like to chat to me, I'll be here. Please come and ask whatever. And thank you for giving me any of your time.